Now, after a huge response on the topic career in IT industries, we training and placement cell are back with another similar topic. So today's lecture is on the topic career in core industries. To throw on the light on the topic, we have an amazing speaker with us today. He is alumni of batch 2016 and is graduate in electrical engineering. His huge knowledge in data engineering, former electrical operation and maintenance engineer. Now, without further ado, I now welcome Mr. Akshay Awadhani sir to address all of us by his words of wisdom.
Yeah, thanks, Rishikesh. Firstly, I would like to thank Training and Placement Cell management of SGGSIE&T Nanded for arranging such a nice initiative. Also, Patil sir and all the faculties of the department who have given this great platform for the alumni to share their experience with the upcoming graduates and the future of the industry. So, firstly, I would like to congratulate for this initiative and thank you all for giving me this opportunity to keep my thoughts. So you're doing very nice work. So all the coordination was very fantastic till date. So today the topic is career in core industry. So I would like to throw light on this topic, starting with the definition of core industry in the context of electrical engineering. So whatever you come across, there are many companies, industries all over in Maharashtra and India. So you will ask me what is the definition of core industry. So whenever you are dealing with electrical operation, maintenance, or electrical power, as long as you are doing work in these three fields, you are working in a core industry. So that is my definition for core industry. So we are saying that
Akshay sir,
core industry is yes.
I think network problem is at your side. Please we don't share the video so that it will be
Okay,
audible for all.
okay. Is it audible now?
Yes, but some kind of disturbance.
Is it now better?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So yeah, I was talking about the industries and the definition of core job as per the context of the electrical engineer. So but to stand by my statement, I would just like to give you the classification of the jobs mainly. So it is mainly classified into two types, like operation and maintenance jobs. So these constitute 80% of the core jobs in the industry, and only 20% jobs are in the category like power utility. You can say that power transmission companies, power generation companies, and power distribution companies. So these are all in this power sector. So you can say only 20% are like these. Other 80%, like you can say textile industry, steel industry, any pharmaceutical industry, any manufacturing industry, wherever you have it can be called as a core industry because they do have their own electrical department, so wherein they have to look after the operation as well as the maintenance of the utility. So this is the most job providing sector, uh, to be very honest. So if you're looking, you become so choosy that you want only the jobs from power utility sector. So you limit yourself to the opportunities only to 20% of the jobs, but 80% avenues are still open. So you can definitely choose between the two, but my opinion will be that you don't be choosy in case of the jobs. You can learn some or the other thing at every place. So there is nothing like that. And one more thing I would like to say, it is like you can't get a job without experience and you can't get experience without job. So it is something like that scenario. So it is better to start gaining your experience, start building your profile, building your CV, So you will definitely get more and more opportunities coming on after you start building on your CV. So being a fresher, you can start with any industry. So there are many things which are the new things when you go on the field. So like when you are going on the field, you will be working on the machinery directly, right? So you are definitely working in the practical sessions, like you're doing many uh, practicals based on the theory you learned at the class. But working on the field is something going to be very advanced level beyond this, because there be having many compliances. Compliance in the sense a set of rules, like for suppose I'm doing any maintenance activity at my particular industry. So there are set of rules what I need to follow. There is certain standard operating procedure that is called as SOP to undergo these maintenance activities or any activities that I'm performing. Like I'll give you more real life example. Suppose there is an industry and we are looking for maintenance of a induction motor. Let's take very simple example. So there is some 5 kilowatt induction motor, and I'm looking to do the maintenance of that motor. And main thing why maintenance is required, can anyone answer? Second year or third year is also fine. Any volunteer, don't be afraid. Let's have a interactive session. Okay, anyone? Okay, let me tell myself. So maintenance is basically required that your utility is working, and it should keep working as efficiently as it is for a longer duration of time. That's why you need to do the maintenance. Like anything, any machine, if it is operating continuously in industry, there are many motors which run around the clock, that is 24/7. So there are such motors. So running for such a long time, such a large amount of power dissipation, such a large amount of thermal dissipation, these things are observed in the motor. And because of this heat and everything, there is a wear and tear of many motor parts. So for such a motor, you require periodic maintenance, like once in a 2 or 3 months, at least you should have a shutdown of that motor. So I was talking about the SOP. If I'm going to do the maintenance, for example, of a 5 kilowatt motor, which is a critical device for my plant. So there is certain operating procedures. What I will do first, firstly, I will take all the approvals for this maintenance, because it is a critical motor. And if I'm doing maintenance, that means it will be shut down for at least 1 hour or 2 hours. So I should have proper approvals for that. I should have proper work permit for that. So work permit is nothing but it is a risk assessment. What are the risk associated with the job? And along with that, there are a set of SOPs which are given along with the approvals. So that is required. After that, I will be once everything is ready. One more thing, the efficient maintenance can be called when I'm going for a maintenance with my team, and that time I should have everything. It should not be that I have done the shutdown. Now, as soon as I do the shutdown, then your utility is not available no more, as it is a shutdown. So after that, every second you spend extra will be more loss or unnecessary loss. Whatever you're doing the maintenance, that is fine. But apart from that, if there is any wastage of time, like suppose my one of my teammate has forgot his toolbox at the department. So after that shutdown is already done, after that, if that person runs to the department and comes back, he spends 10 minutes. So that 10 minutes is extra wastage of time or production. So such things should be avoided. You should have proper planning. Every tool should be there by hand. So when you are there at the spot and you have announced the shutdown and you have shut down the motor with isolation, so proper isolation is required. before you start any work, because not only electrical isolation but all sorts of energy isolation, I would say. Because suppose if there is any chemical that is circulating uh, by that particular motor, there should not be leakage when you stop its operation. So all types of energy isolation should be done before starting the job. Now, after you start your job, you do all the checks what are required. Like you will be looking at the terminals. I hope everyone is able to relate what terminals are for induction motor. So we'll check all the terminals. Is there any heating observed in that particular junction box or terminal box? So everything will be checked. Entire cable length will be observed. Is there any sign of any damage or something? Also, the supply side is also maintained at the same time, whether all the relays are functioning properly. So all these things has to be done. Once you are having the shutdown, that means that time it is available for everyone, even other departments. Now we have to work hand in hand in industry, right? For example, instrumentation department is looking for some pressure gauges related to that particular pump, so they can also do work at the same time because it is a shutdown. So taking shutdowns separately will lead to more production loss. So once you get the shutdown, any one department gets the approval, so everyone whoever has work pending on that particular pump or machinery, they should do that work within that time, because anyhow the machine is shut down, so you can do your work as well. So this is how these maintenance jobs are carried out in industry. So mostly I'm focusing more on maintenance jobs because this is the most job providing sector. So operation and maintenance. So this is the maintenance part. So I just gave you example of induction motor. So there are many types of motors in any industry. Synchronous motors are there. Also, sometimes there are DC motors also for specific purposes. Nowadays, we are just going away from DC motors. We are bringing in AC motors. We are trying to make them function as good as DC motors. So, with the modern technology, so you might have come across the subject power electronics. So converters, inverters, everything is so fine nowadays, and that's why we can get all the benefits of induction motor and also get the benefits of DC motor by just using converter and induction motor combination. So this is how the technology is getting developed day by day. So can anyone tell why we are moving away from DC motors and preferring induction motor? I would really appreciate. You should talk. I know everyone knows the answer, but nobody is trying to answer. Yes, anyone? You can even type it out. It's fine. Yeah, okay. You're typing it already. So Kashif had already given the answer for last question. So yeah, maximum permissible temperature for induction motor terminals. Okay, so this is interesting. So if there is some this motor is situated somewhere near process process equipment, so there the temperature will be definitely high, but it should not be beyond 70 to 80 degrees. Okay, yeah. So is supply is available everywhere. Yeah, yeah. Going much closer, more losses. Uh, Okay, so yeah, main thing I would like to focus here, why we are moving away from DC motor to AC motors, is the frequency of maintenance. Okay, so if you have a DC motor, you will have carbon brushes for its commutator, and it will be a periodic task. Like 15 days, you have to inspect those DC brushes. Okay, carbon brushes, what are there on the commutator. So this becomes a hectic activity for any department. So my own experience in my department, we had 4 DC motors. in plant. So it was so critical that we had to look at those carbon brushes every 15 days. If we don't do that, on 17 or something is there, we are busy with something, if there is any safety audit or something, then we end up at having some failure in that commutator after 17 18 days. So that was becoming so critical. But in case of induction motors, this thing is this is not so critical. You can have more difference between the two maintenance dates. For DC machines, it's the almost 2 weeks or 1 month. You must have one maintenance for that machine. So induction motors, 3 months, 4 months also. If you don't have any maintenance, it can work. So that is why the industry is slowly moving from DC machines to AC machines. And it's almost in every new installation, nobody prefers having DC machines. Okay, so yeah, good answers by everyone. Okay, so moving forward, so we'll come to electrical operations now. So in any industry, main thing is the main energy you require is the electrical energy to operate that facility. So right from the 33 kV substation, or I'll just give one example level, that 33 kV. And it can be as per the load, 66 kV. It can be 132 kV, based on the requirement of the load. So you have to maintain that what is the plant load, and it is just like simply planning. Right. So if today I'm planning for a plant load of say 10 megawatt. So what if I'm just doing all the things, all the design as per 10 kilowatt only? Sorry, 10 megawatt only. That will be a wrong approach, because in the coming future there might be addition of some facility to the plant. So where can you accommodate that if you have infrastructure only for 10 megawatts? So if there is some more extra plant coming up there which will demand 1 more megawatt, you can't provide that. So that's why it is better you keep at least 30% margin. So if your plant requirement is 10 megawatt, you should at least go for 13 megawatt setup. And if it is like you're going to be always stuck with that, yeah, my load is not going to go beyond 10 megawatt anywhere in the future. So you can definitely say that, yeah, I can manage with 10 megawatts of infrastructure, because upgrading the infrastructure is very expensive. Like if I'm today at 10 megawatt and I'm saying that I want 15 megawatt infrastructure, so it will be very expensive that time. So this consideration is taken. So this basically is a electrical design job. So this is core job, electrical design and planning. So you might have came across the subject electrical installations and design. So all these things are done through that. All the calculations are done based on that. Then you have your switch gears. So switch gear industry itself is a core industry. So what are the switch gears? Can you type? Yes. So circuit breakers, relays, any switching devices, all these are switch gears. So switch gears differ from voltage levels to voltage levels. Like in substation of 33 kV, you will have circuit breakers of different type, like vacuum circuit breakers, SF6 circuit breakers. Whereas if when you are working with LV, that is a low voltage side, where that is below 1 kV, there you will be seeing the ACBs, air circuit breakers. So these are main components where which control your entire electrical system. So uh, in uh, in the substation, so main thing to ensure is that continuity and reliability of supply. So this also rests the responsibility of the O&M engineer that I was before this assignment. So operation and maintenance engineer is responsible for continuity and reliability of supply, as well as all the maintenance jobs carried out over the facility. Also for the breakdowns, troubleshooting of the breakdowns that take place at the facility. So everything comes under this person's jurisdiction. So he has to look at all these three aspects. So I came from maintenance, then I came to operations. Now I'm going to tell you about the power reliability and continuity. So for my facility there, I had two HT supplies. That was feeder 1, feeder 2. These were the HT supplies from the utility, power utility. And third supply I had was the captive power plant, that is the diesel generation plant. So why it is called as captive, you might have understood from the name itself, because it's in-house, that is a local generation. But when we are having the scenario like, if we are going to run the plant by local generation, we are going to end up giving a huge amount, because using diesel generators, if we start producing the power, we'll land up somewhere. The price of the power will be like 25 to 30 rupees per kWh. So which is not at all a feasible solution. So that can be used only when you don't have both the feeders power. Both feeders are failed, then only you can go to the local generation. So these two feeders were like, one feeder was closer enough, like its power was coming from 30 kilometers, and the second feeder, its power was coming from 45 kilometers. So definitely from feeder one, we used to get better voltage regulation. So we used to prefer that. Once that failed, if that failed somewhere, there were failures. Definitely there were failures, because it's always like, whenever there is a huge demand, like in Diwali, Navratri, definitely there used to be some interruptions in the power supply. So feeder 1 fails, we go to feeder 2. But feeder 2, while changing over the power supply to feeder 2, we can't do that instantaneously. Like, this is failed, let me just change it to feeder 2. Directly adding 10 megawatt load to that feeder 2, that will just make your system just go down. Okay, so you can't do that, yeah, instantaneously. For that instance, once feeder 1, which was running right now, is failed, you have to take your load right on their local generation, that is the diesel generations. You have to do the parallel operation of generations, all the diesel generators. And meanwhile, after doing this, you have restored the power at your plant, right? By taking this load onto the generators. Now you can contact the substation of feeder 2, that this is the scenario, how much load can you sustain. So if he says, yeah, you can add 5 megawatts for maximum, you can add 5 megawatts. So then you can choose between the remaining loads, that which to put on the feeder 2, because that was not giving us the good voltage regulation. That is, if we are expecting the voltage around 415 volts in 3 phase, so if we are getting 380 volts, so that is definitely not a good supply, not a reliable supply. So we can add some non-critical load on that. So we used to get that load off the local generation and put on that feeder 2 till then. So after that, once feeder 1 restores, again we have to contact feeder 1 substation, that this is the scenario, we got the power from this. So we are going to add the entire 10 megawatt on you. So if he says no, we have just restored power by somewhat changes here and there. So it is just manageable supply. It's not the reliable one. So there is no meaning in shifting that load to feeder 1 again if it is going to fail again. So we'll have to wait for them to give the clearance that, yeah, now you can take entire load on our feeder. So this communication is very important. If you're not doing that, you're not only going to have some issues with your power plant, but you're going to transfer your problems to the entire grid. So it will lead to more loss, right? So all these things are done by the substation engineer, so which is a O&M engineer. So everything whatever I'm telling, it's coming under the bucket of O&M engineer. So any questions till now? So AutoCAD, yeah, definitely it's beneficial because designing tool, it can add to the value, definitely. Okay, just feel free to ask the questions. This is very interactive session. There is nothing like you can't ask. Whatever might be your question, you can ask it. Okay, so shall we move forward? Okay, let's okay, software. So you might have heard about SAP. So SAP is the very imminent software if you are going into the electrical field later on. Because SAP is a tool which will enable you to monitor your maintenance execution data. Like now there are like notifications. Suppose in a particular utility, any pump is not working. So that operation person will raise a notification that particular pump is not working. So being a maintenance person, it's your responsibility to see it on the electrical side, right? If the pump is not working, is the motor working properly? Is the motor fine? Or there is some issue with the motor? If there is any issue with the motor, it rests on you, then it's your responsibility to rectify on the electrical side. But if there is some problem involved in like coupling of that motor with the pump, then mechanical person will help you out. So this is how maintenance has to work. When you go to the industry, mechanical, instrumentation, electrical, all of us has to work hand in hand. It is not like I'm an electrical person, so I don't need any help from mechanical person. It's not like that. And sometimes they will need your help. You can help them with. So all these things are we have to work as a team in any industry. So this is how it works. So I was talking about SAP system. So notification was generated. Then you have to generate the work order, and you have to mention what are the operations that you are going to perform. After that, you can close that work order after you have completed that maintenance or you have rectified that problem. So this all data gets stored in SAP. So means after 2 years also, if you're looking to see back what were the maintenance activities carried out on this particular pump, that notification, close notification, and as well as the work order will appear there. Yeah, this was the work was done 2 years back. So again, it has failed. So this is how you can keep the track of your maintenance history. So SAP is going to be the important tool. So okay, what are the skills do you think one should acquire to get a good job? So skills, you can say you should have a good technical knowledge. Second thing, you should be self-motivated. That is, you should not be dependent on anyone's command or something that yeah, do this, do that. You should be self-motivated. You should be doing it for self. You're not doing anything for anyone. If you're thinking like that, then it's very difficult. But if you're self-motivated and looking to do major things, you can do anything. And if you say about the job, in job the skills are important, but your attitude, I would say, it's more than skills. It is more important. So I don't say don't give any attention on your skills. Yeah, keep the skills, but your attitude also matters a lot when you're working with the industry. So technical knowledge, if you're looking to acquire any career in electrical core field, so technical knowledge is a must. So you should keep all the things in your mind, like the electrical machines, power systems, electrical measurements, and instrumentation, all these subjects, network analysis, all these subjects are going to help you whenever you're going in the field. So, but the thing is, there is a bridge between industry and your technical knowledge. Now, that bridge you should start creating for yourself, because as I told you, you might have come across many things what I told just now. These are on field things, like work permits, all these things you haven't learnt in your theory. So these things you have to bridge. Why I'm doing this? Why I need this permit? Why? What is electrical safety? What is the need of electrical safety? You can just imagine in your home only. There are many times there are MCB trips. There are short circuits at your home also. So just imagine home is such a small electrical system. There you can see such incidents. Then just imagine when you are dealing with 10 megawatts of power. You can just imagine what can be the gravity of any problem that can occur, or any accidents. Recently, one accident took place where the electrician went for a maintenance activity, and he isolated a wrong feeder and started maintenance on the other feeder. So there was a power, and when he just used his tool, it was a short circuit, dead short circuit. So there was a huge flash over, you can say. So arc flash was there. He was not wearing any safety equipment. So he was injured, badly injured. So these all things are there which we have to take care. We need not be afraid of these things. We are electrical engineers. We need to combat all these. We have to minimize the risk. And whatever operations we are performing, we should do it with utmost care. Now, as I was telling you, transferring of the load. Okay, so transferring of the load was not that easy task. When you are shifting 5 megawatts of load from here and there, if you are doing single mistake, if a single wrong breaker is pressed, you are just colliding to different supplies at different phase sequences, or different phase difference. Right? Are you able to relate this phase difference? Suppose feeder 1 is applying at phase 0 degree, and my local generation is having phase difference of 60 degree with those. So it will be a short circuit. So these all things we have to consider while working with the industry. So all these things come with your experience and the way you proceed in your assignments. Okay, so then there is no we need not do any haste while doing electrical operations, maintenance. Never. Whenever we are dealing with such a large amount of power, we can't do any haste there. If anyone is saying that do it hurriedly, I want this in 5 minutes, never do that. Whether that person is the highest authority at that plant, you should not do that. Don't be pressurized for that. You have to take the time, but you have to do it correctly. Okay, it is like it is not about speed, it is about accuracy. You have to do it accurately, because there is no retake in this. It is not the thing we can rewind again if you are doing anything wrong. Okay, so these are the things. And also, to prevent all such accidents, there are interlocks. So interlocks are something like, suppose my any of the bus is energized by local generation. That time interlock is given that you cannot switch on the circuit breaker for feeder 2. So this interlock is given there. But what if this fails? Interlock is not a foolproof thing. If there is any failure in the interlock, what will be the result? You will be giving two different supplies at the same bus bar. So this is how we have to be careful. Whenever there are safety interlocks for our safety, but we can't 100% rely on them and do anything. From our side, we should not make any mistake. That is the key point I would like to put in front right now. Okay, so any questions till now again? You can keep you can type the questions. Even when I'm speaking, you can type questions. There's no problem. Okay, so I would like tell a few more things, like what is the difference between critical power and non-critical power. So critical power. Okay, so Mayur has asked how many motors are we are responsible in our job. So it depends from plant to plant. So if you ask my assignment, I was responsible for 250 motors, which were ranging from, you can say one motor was 250 kilowatt also. So you will be responsible for entire utility actually, wherever you are joining. So it depends on the plant size. So if the plant is very, very big, like there is of diameter of the plant is like 4 kilometers, so definitely there will be sections of the plant, so you will be responsible for one section. So the if the utility is small, then you will be responsible for entire plant. So this is how it will differ from plant to plant, how many motors will be responsible for. So Java and Python. So I could say if you're looking to pursue your career in IT industry, then it will be beneficial. And if you're looking to apply it for electrical engineering, if you're looking for some hybrid model of project, then you can use Python and Java as programming languages for that. So like you're using microcontrollers, microprocessor, there also you're doing some programming, then only you're getting the output. So that is the main thing you can see. So Vineet has asked one question. In today's scenario, what would be the greatest requirements to get placed in IT industry? Okay, so in IT industry, nowadays you can see there is a bumper opening. Lots of openings are coming up, and there is only one criteria: you should be 60% and plus, and you should have completed or appearing final year of your BTech. So this is the single criteria you're having. So requirements are as such. They will just ask you few questions related to what type of programming have you done so far. So programming based, what you can answer. So you can answer that, yeah, I have learned this microprocessor, microcontroller programming. I have also learned C++ in first year. So all these things, whatever is relevant for their field. Because once you are entering the IT industry, being a electrical engineer, so that point of time you are just leaving the core electrical field, and you're switching your job to the IT. So then you will have to reassess yourself, your skill set, and you have to acquire new skills. So just microcontroller and microprocessor programming won't suffice in case you are getting placed into the IT industry. Then you have to see to the new programming languages, whatever are coming up. So this is how you can do that. So in my case, right now I'm process data engineer. So I'm dealing with the maintenance execution data of all the sites for my organization. So why it is sounding like IT, but it is not purely IT. So as I'm coming from maintenance background, all my colleagues in the current organization all are from maintenance background. So we have been on the maintenance field, so that's why we can relate the things whatever we see in the data. So we are dealing with the maintenance execution. So what were the activities performed in execution? We are analyzing this data, and we are providing the insights to the sites. So, so what can be the improvement they can do with their current set of practices. So this is how the role is. So you cannot just restrict yourself to any particular role. You have to be dynamic. Main thing I will like to tell you, that be dynamic. Don't be so choosy that no, I want to be this only. So then you can get number of opportunities, and wherever you go, just do best. That's what I can say, and then you'll definitely find yourself in a better position. Always, always you'll be keeping progressing. So just be dynamic. That's what I can say. So be open for opportunities. Whoever has planned that, no, I will join IT industry for sure. Just keep an eye on your IT skills like programming. What languages are upcoming? What are the new languages are that are um, taken adoption into, so that you can keep an eye on all the industries. What are the uh, programming languages they are going to acquire in the next coming future? So in IT, it itself is a very dynamic field. So whatever programming language is working today, tomorrow it might be obsolete. So everything is going towards a user-friendly interface, all the programming languages. So tomorrow, if all these things come so easily, like anyone can program them. There is no specialist required for any programming. So that is where we are walking. Like, so DAX is one of the programming language I'm currently working with. So you can see that DAX is very simple. So it's not that difficult. Also, SQL programming language, M query, that is also very simple language to program with, because your users at the end, they are going to be like, we are the maintenance people. So we are doing the data analyst job as well as the maintenance execution person's job. Both we are like open to both. So such persons, they can't do very complicated programming, like very long programs of 2 pages, 3 pages. We don't do that. Instead, we get some simple DAX expressions, and that does the work for us. Okay, so this is how we have to upgrade your skills. Okay, anything else? Yeah, I feel better for being in the top 500 for Fortune companies in India. So it is good to be at such a company. But yeah, you should not matter what company you are working in. You should matter yourself, what you are doing, because ultimately your company is definitely going to progress. But what about our progress? We should also progress with it. So being at Fortune 500 India company, it is fine. That is one achievement. Okay. What about our achievement? We should be one of the first 500 people in our field. That should be our passion, which we are chasing. So advantages, you can say, advantages of being in such company, you can get many of the benefits like employee benefits. There are the insurances, everything you can get out of these companies. So nowadays, companies try to give you more and more perks to retain the talent, because once a person is at a position, he will once he masters the skill set, then he'll try to jump for the new opportunity. So to avoid that, to retain the talent, companies try to give you perks, so you can get these things. And okay, the main question you asked is the gateways to get it. So gateways, I would say, just build your resume first. Resume is the most powerful thing nowadays. Put all the skills which you feel relevant for any industry. And for example, just I would like to give some insights. Whatever mistakes I did, I just don't want you people to do that, so that you get even more exposure than me. So suppose if I am applying in a IT company, and I'm giving all my skill sets from electrical background or maintenance background, or on the other case, if I'm applying in electrical company, electrical core company, and I'm giving all my skill sets in IT, both will not have that much of advantage. So you have to think before you give the skill sets in the resume. What exactly you're looking for? What is your career objective? You might have came across all the formats of resume. First thing what you see after your name and some details, that will be your career objective. So make that very clear right now, that yeah, whoever is in second year, right now you can decide what field you're looking to go in. So you can work accordingly. And if someone is looking to pursue MTech or higher education, you have to think that well in advance only. Okay, I want to do MTech from IIT. So you should start your gate preparations. So one more question related to this is what are the placements in electrical engineering through gate marks? So gate score is going to be very vital whenever you are going anywhere. So whenever you are showing your gate scorecard, you can get only when you qualify it. So you get a edge over other candidates definitely, because not everyone will be gate qualified. So gate you can definitely have as a uh, good support for your technical knowledge, that yeah, I have qualified it. And also there are ways like PSUs nowadays they hire through gate. So you should have a good rank, you should have a good score in gate, and you will be shortlisted, you will be called by them. Yeah, you are AIR 5, AIR 10. You should have that kind of an ambition that okay, I'm preparing for gate not just for getting admission to MTech. I'm doing it to excel. I want to be in top 100 AIR in India. This is how you have to keep one objective, and you have to work right from second year. So you'll definitely excel in that. And first year students, if they are there in the call, yeah, this is a new new world you have entered in. You are into engineering, but yeah, few days it's fine. 4 5 months you can enjoy the college life, but later on you have to think on your career, because these 4 years these won't come back. Nowadays, after now, I have 5 years of experience. I can't bring my engineering back. Okay, these were the mistakes I did that time. Let me go and correct them. This is not possible later on. So just be focused and do whatever things you can do, and grab as many as opportunities you can, grab as much as knowledge you can from various sources. You have faculties, you have many internet forums, so you can get a lot of information. And nowadays I can guarantee you on YouTube, rather than going for looking for some movies, looking for some songs, if we see some videos like which will enhance your skill set, that will be definitely more beneficial than the pastime. So I don't say don't do any pastime. You should have that balance. You should know that balance. Yeah, when to enjoy, when to focus on our career. So if you do these things, if you manage these things together, you can definitely do well in both the aspects. You'll be doing good in your life as well as your career. We are looking at both, right? We just don't want to enjoy the life, and we are just overlooking the career. We don't want that also. We are so much focused in career, we are lagging very behind in life. That is also the thing we don't want. So we just need to be at the middle line of this, and this line is very thin. Okay, so I think I can conclude this session right now. So any questions from your side? There are many things I can talk, but I would like to interact more. You can post your questions. Okay, do your company has tie-up with any motor manufacturers who is responsible for motor selection, maintenance, also motor power card? Okay, so in my previous assignment, there was a tie-up with Kirloskar. So the maintenance department head, he is responsible for the selection. For maintenance, we are responsible, being the operation and maintenance engineers. So and the motor catalog, power card, we can say it is called as a motor catalog, wherein we keep the information of all the motors we have in the plant, their location, and where the motor is having its spare motor. So if in case any motor gets unfunctional, there is any fault in the motor, so you can't simply wait for that motor to get repaired. You should have spare for all critical motors. So where is that spare located? That is also maintained this in this catalog. Okay, power card, electronic driver. Yeah. So this is in converter. So converter is a device that is going to drive your motor. Like if you are looking to drive your induction motor at 50% of its speed, so power card can do that. Okay, so what are the questions asked by interviewer in electrical interview? Good question. I would like to elaborate a bit. So in the electrical interview, it will be based on your basic knowledge firstly. So very simple questions like what is power factor? So if you're saying your power factor is just formula, if you're just telling the answer in just one word or two words, that is not what expected. You have to elaborate. Now, if you know everything, you know the power triangle, what is reactive power, what is active power, what is apparent power, what are the units, why not to tell them? So just show your depth of knowledge in that case. So it was just an example, power factor. So he can also ask you that why the power factor has to be one only. Can't I have a 0.8 power factor? So what will be the problem if I keep that 0.8 only? If I don't try to make it one, what will be the effect on my utility? So you can answer these questions. So to elaborate more about this, if you are not maintaining your power factor at 1, you will end up paying more in electricity cost. So this is how you have to tackle the questions, and don't try to give very short answer. uh, Never do that. If you know better than that, it's better to showcase that knowledge. And yeah, you should back yourself while answering the questions. You have to be confident, and to be confident, you have to be technically sound, and don't try to give any guess answers in interview. That gives very bad impression. So this is how the interview will be. Then simple questions can be: what is surge impedance loading? What are the types of conductors in the transmission line? So it depends on what type of company you're applying to. So if it is a switchgear company, you have to read your switchgears well. You have to keep all the concepts of switchgears well for that. So firstly, understand what kind of a company you're applying. So if it is operation and maintenance type of job, suppose any textile industry has a electrical engineer opening. So whatever I covered in the initial phase of the lecture, that these things are more vital while attending such an interview. Okay, so I hope I answered all the questions. So okay, then Rishikesh, over to you.
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir, for your wonderful speech. We gained a lot from it. We certainly believe that many of us have been inspired by you today. Thank you again. Again, thanks all the attendees for joining the sessions. Thank you all.